Greetings, GOSA people. Okay, so very exciting this morning. As was promised yesterday, and a bit late, but it came. They promised us at the judgment at 10 o'clock. It came at about probably 10:30. But yeah, case dismissed. The Minister of Police's case against Fidelity's, or appeal against Fidelity's order in the Supreme Court of Appeal was dismissed, meaning that we can now license firearms, relicense firearms with expired licenses. It was a unanimous judgment, which is particularly good. It's a 33-page full judgment. It's on the GOSA Facebook group. The judgment was written by Majid J and Rogers AJ, which is particularly interesting because the Chief Justice, the now Chief Justice, presided over the case in November last year. But they've made an excellent judgment. It's a full judgment, 33 pages. On page 25, para 55, as we have said, a statute should be interpreted as far as reasonably possible to avoid creating a lacuna, that's a hole, that's a gap, in the legislative scheme. Such a gap would be exposed if one were to interpret the Act as prohibiting applications for a new license by a person whose license expired without renewal. So they're saying that if they didn't do this, they would be assisting in the creation of a gap, of a hole in the legal scheme. And that, of course, we can't have. Although the firearm might be seized by or surrendered to the police, such person would, as Section 149(2)(b explicitly recognizes, retain ownership. So even if your firearm if you hand it in to the police, you surrender the firearm to the police, but you still retain ownership, pending a license application, or an application for a new license. I want to make clear, the police may elect to charge you. There is no amnesty. They may elect to charge you for being in unlawful possession of the firearm. However, they cannot successfully charge you if there's no intent to commit a crime. It's what the lawyers the lawyers call mens rea. So there's no intent, there's no criminal intent. If there's no criminal intent, they cannot successfully charge you. So even though they may rattle their sabers and make threatening moves, they can't actually do a damn thing. If you've tried to make any attempt to have your firearm relicensed, and this will include if you made use of the GOSA Renewal Rescue Pack that we published years ago, this will aid you in that. Then also, para 58 says, although the registrar must assess such an application on its merits, he or she is not obliged to grant the application. So this is an application. It's not guaranteed. The applicant's record as a gun owner, the circumstances giving rise to the expiry of the license, any unlawful possession which then ensued, and the steps the applicant took to remedy the situation could all be expected to feature in the registrar's assessment. Back to the Renewal Rescue Pack. If you have documented how you tried to renew your license, but you couldn't, you were out of the country, when you got back from sick leave or because of COVID lockdowns, you were unable to access, you were out of the country, you were unable to access the police station, whatever. You went there, the police station was closed. The DFO's office was closed. The finance office was closed. Any one of those things, if any one of those things happen and you've got documentary evidence of it, that is part of your reasons for not having it renewed when you should have. So that will all count for you. Sorry, there's an ice cream truck going past, and I've been told that when they play that tune, it means that there's no more ice creams left. All right, so then moving on page 31 to the conclusion on the merits, para 67, as we mentioned earlier, what we have said in relation to Section 20 applies equally to Sections 13 to 19. Of course, the Fidelity case that this was related specifically to firearms held for security company purposes, which is Section 20. But now the justices are saying, in fact, that applies to any of the sections, from 13 all the way through to 20. There is nothing in those provisions which precludes a former license holder from applying for another license in terms of the appropriate provision. All of the sections are framed widely, using the phrase any firearm. Broadly speaking, the only jurisdictional prerequisites are that the firearm should have the characteristics and the application should be made for the purpose identified in the relevant section. And guys, and by the way, the attempted appeal was dismissed with costs. So that's the court also saying that they're actually quite angry that this ended up in front of them. We mentioned at the time that Chief Justice Zondo, at the time of the application, put it to the state, said to them, but why is this even in front of us? You agree that new licenses can be granted. Why did this even come to us? And the state was unable to answer. So that's what happens when you're unable to answer and you force a matter into the Constitutional Court, you get a costs order against you. Well, congratulations, Martin. Congratulations, Fidelity, for sticking to their guns, literally. Here we are.